I've been keeping a close eye on this EEE outbreak that is happening up north because now there's more small towns and cities talking about implementing curfews and what they call voluntary lockdowns. Now, of course, there's idiots online defending this, saying, hey, the lockdowns aren't mandatory, they're voluntary, this isn't a problem. Or the curfew isn't necessarily mandatory, this isn't a problem. Guys, idiots like this is why the powers that be are always capable of doing anything they want to us. Really think about it, folks. Use your brain, use your noggin. There's no such thing as a voluntary lockdown. There's no such thing as a voluntary curfew. If there was a such thing, then technically we're all living under a voluntary lockdown or a voluntary curfew right now, because at any point in time, we're living in a free country, at least for now. At any point in time, we could say, hey, we're going to make sure we're inside every night by 6 p.m. Or at any given time, we could lock ourselves in our house for days, weeks, months, if we so choose. So thinking about just thinking about a voluntary lockdown, it doesn't make sense. It's obviously a manipulation tactic. It's obviously a form of psychological warfare. Now, some of you all may think that's extreme, but that's probably because you don't understand how government operates. And if you know history, then you know they're always waging some type of psychological warfare on the people. Now, issuing voluntary lockdowns and curfews, this is a way to divide people. This is a way to what you should call, or what some would call, other people. And when you other people, what you do is you separate people, and now they're the others, right? So you're going to have people who will comply with the voluntary lockdown and curfew. And then you will have people who will go against it. And now, for no reason at all, due to a voluntary lockdown, you got your community divided. And now one half of the community is looking at the other half of the community as the others. You're not like us, you're different. Either you're listening to the rules or you're not listening to the rules. And that's how they get you at each other's throats. They divide you. They turn the conversation into a conversation, or they turn the conversation into an argument amongst neighbors, family, and friends, and then they're able to implement and do whatever the hell they want. We've seen it happen throughout history. We've seen it happen not that long ago. The fact that more people cannot recognize the games that are being played is absolutely insane to me, because it's so blatantly obvious what they're doing. So now in these towns that have these voluntary lockdowns, you're going to have two different factions basically at odds with each other, when in reality they should be at odds with the government. And they, just to be honest, they should be at odds with whoever is putting out all of these bioengineered mosquitoes out into the environment. But we can't have a conversation about that, right? We can't, that would make us conspiracy theorists if we draw a connection between all of the freaking billions of mosquitoes they're releasing into our environment. If we draw a connection between that and the various diseases that are now being spread by mosquitoes, we're conspiracy theorists. So we got to act like there's no possibility that there's a connection, and we got to act like there's a such thing as voluntary lockdowns, as if this is not a technique that is being used to divide people, and who knows what they have planned. But let's go ahead, let's roll this news clip, let's listen to what they're talking about when it comes to these curfews and what have you, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a reason for concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or Triple E, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of Triple E this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Even if you do survive, usually there are long-term significant health impacts, neurological impacts.
Oxford has been declared a critical risk for EEE, prompting health department officials to recommend a 6 p.m. curfew for outdoor activities, including club sports.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
We are definitely nervous about it.
Sarah Fournier is also worried her children's sports seasons, football and cheer, could be jeopardized. But they're taking precautions by wearing mosquito repellent and long sleeve tops.
We can't stop life. They need to get out there. They need to play. This is their time to be social with their friends and be a part of a team.
Now, EEE symptoms usually begin between 4 to 10 days after being bitten by an infected mosquito. According to the CDC, now some of those symptoms can include fever, headache, and seizures.
I cannot stress this enough, folks. We cannot reach a point in society where we're shutting down the world and we're not living our lives because of the possibility of a mosquito bite. I understand that there's very real diseases out there that are dangerous, that are spreading. I get it. But as I've been saying since day one when I started covering the story, this is a very slippery slope. It's beyond slippery. Like, it's kind of obvious where this slope heads, and you're heading right into a tree at alarming speeds because you French fried when you should have pizzaed while skiing, okay? So this is a slope that we don't need to even try to go down because we kind of know what's at the end. And what's at the end is something that most of us don't want. But as of right now, slowly but surely, we're watching little areas, little towns come up with new ideas and new plans to limit people's exposure to mosquitoes, which is kind of odd. It's like, hey, we got to keep y'all away from mosquitoes. Meanwhile, next week, we're about to introduce 5 billion more mosquitoes into the environment that we farmed on this little farm with Bill Gates. And the stuff sounds wild, but it's happening, folks. That's what's sad. But yeah, this is where we're at. We've reached a point where now we got to worry about lockdowns because of mosquitoes. And it's only a matter of time before this is happening in other places in the country. I mean, think about it. Do the mosquitoes know borders? Are the mosquitoes like, hey, we're going to stay in this town, we're going to wreak havoc in this town, and we're not going to go anywhere else, right? Are the mosquitoes like, hey, it's curfew? You know what I mean? How do you place... It's like, oh, the mosquitoes will only bite between these hours. If you're inside by this time, you'll be safe. But after 6 p.m., here comes the killer mosquitoes. So just the whole concept, it doesn't make sense because mosquitoes can go wherever the hell they want. They're not going to just stay in this one little area, in this one little town, and this one little city. And yeah, I know there's peak hours for mosquito activity, but I think, as someone who lives around mosquitoes, I've gotten bitten by mosquitoes in the morning, the afternoon, the early afternoon, tea time, dinner, brunch, any time you can think of, I've gotten bitten by a mosquito before. All right? So to think that, oh, these mosquitoes are going to stay within these borders, or there's certain operating hours for mosquitoes, it's just dumb when you think about it. I don't care if they try to make it make sense. They can say whatever they want to say. You got to use your common sense. I don't care what experts they march out in front of you. They all have an agenda. I'm tired of listening to their BS, but I'm going to pay attention because I know that there's always some type of motive. There's always some type of agenda behind this type of stuff. But for now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.